right. Looks like we are good to go. So welcome everyone. My name is Caleb Hale. I'm the Director of Communications for the SIU Alumni Association. We're checking in with you today on another live stream, this time with John Frost, Director of Admissions for Southern Illinois University, Carbondale. He's going to introduce himself here in a second, but primarily what we're going to talk about today is how alumni and friends can become on the ground recruiters for SIU. We're taking a new aggressive stance on getting some more students in the door here on campus, and alumni are going to play a part of that. So John's here with some resources and some helpful tips on how we can get things started. So John, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how kind of the recruitment strategy has been playing out these last few months.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, thank you very much for making time out of your day to allow us to talk about some of the great things that we're going to be doing. Really appreciate this opportunity. Again, my name is John Frost, Director of Undergrad Admissions. Be 2 years in March of 21 that I've been with the university, and it's been a heck of opportunity. I feel extremely privileged to be able to spread the good news about SIU. Not only historically about that we've been here for 150 plus years, but then also that we've been changing lives throughout that time. Creating CEOs, creating trendsetters, social media influencers, people, politicians, so forth. Actors and actresses. So again, it's an honor to be able to do that and to be a contributor to what we can do in the future. Some of the things that I wanted to make sure that we mentioned this last year, we had a really great year with our freshman recruitment. Even if you just start with the Southern Illinois territory, we've seen a 30% increase in freshman students from the Southern Illinois region, which is really great news that we love to share. At the same time, we had an overall 31% increase in freshman students, which is tremendous. If you understand the national trend, it was 16.5% decrease if you include international students, decline in enrollment. But if you take international students out, it was about a 2.5% decrease. So for us to be on that extremely opposite end on a positive note, that's good work. And the reason I think that happened is just like things like this. It's not just going to take one department to recruit a student nowadays. We're in unprecedented times. So us working together to get a student here together is going to be our best benefit. And that's what we're trying to do. And I thank you for allowing us to be able to share some of the things that's been taking place. A few key points I wanted to mention before we may jump into some questions is, what we were able to do was to do a really great transition from traditional based recruitment to virtual recruitment, right? Because we had limitations due to COVID, we was not able to be in high schools and community colleges like we normally would be. The example I like to share with people is that normally when we would do that, we would go to an event and we would see 300, 200, 400 people at one point in time, and we could maximize that. Because of COVID, we're not able to do that. We have to do a lot of virtual engagements. We have to be an inbound, outbound admission call center, right? We have to do a lot of small interaction engagement, one-on-one opportunities to maximize our efforts to work with students. So we're not going to be able to gather students at 300 and 400 capacity like we normally do, and also be able to gather them on campus or at their high school or community college. So we did a great job in doing that transition and in transitioning to a virtual approach. For example, if you look at some of our events that normally would take 2 or 3 hours, where somebody would travel from XYZ place in Illinois or outside of the state and spend 2 or 3 hours with us. Now that's about a 45-minute or an hour engagement now, right? Because we're having them connect on Zoom or some of the other virtual platforms, and we're just kind of giving them the nuts and bolts about what's taking place. And at the same time, the good news is that we're able to actually go a little deeper with the conversation with that student on actually what him or her is looking for educational opportunity. So I think that's been a great benefit. At the same time, we done had tremendous support from the office like you all, like the alumni. Jeff Gleam and I are working on some ideas I think are going to be fantastic to equip alumni and friends to be able to help us with that recruitment. Because as I said at the beginning, it's going to take all of us to get a student to and through school now. We just can't, hope and think that they're going to show up. We have to actually put some efforts in there to get them to our doors and get them through graduation. So those are just a few things I wanted to mention before we jump into some of the questions.
Yeah, and I know that alumni are always eager to help out in this respect, because if the one thing about alumni of SIU is they're very enthusiastic about their experiences, and that's kind of across the board, and it's an experience they're willing to share a lot of times, and definitely they want to share it with prospective students on there, because they know the programs, and they know the people. They can get people connected. I think it's a matter of just getting them to the right place and getting up to speed with what we're doing. And that's kind of where I'm going to jump to kind of the first thing that you had showed me before. What we've got on screen there is kind of something you had presented to our board a couple of weeks ago. It's kind of the bullet point list on how people can help with this ability. If you want to just kind of go through this, and these are kind of the highlights of what we're talking about, and then we'll kind of go in depth onto each one and where they can find this information.
Yes, no, I think this is great. First and foremost, that inquiry form, a lot of folks may not know what that means. That's how we get prospective students in our system for we can engage with them. And not to get into higher education jargon, but at the end of the day, I know the alumni meet and have a lot of connections. They may encounter students. The last thing I want you to do is to tell them just to email somebody or go to the website. Nothing against that method, but we want to be able to act with speed, and we want to be able to get them in the system, but we can know how to connect with them. For example, when you talk to a student and they say, yes, I want to go to SIU, I want to learn more information, share that inquiry link that I think that we'll share here shortly. That's real easy. They can put their information in there, first name, last name, email, telephone number, and then that's going to go into our Slate system, but it's our database system of personnel and engagement as far as in the recruitment process. Once that happens, they're going to automatically get some communications on their next steps to complete an application, right? So this is what they would need to do to complete that application. That's really important right now, because when that happens, also it's going to document that encounter has happened. So when that information goes into the system, one of our admission coordinators are going to follow up and try to start and building that relationship with a student. And I think that's also extremely important to make sure that we have a good opportunity to work with students. So sharing that link is going to be important, which transitions us to the next point. Right now, until the end of November, we have a free application campaign taking place. Now, normally that application fee is about $40. It's free right now. So this is the best time to get that out there. And please, for all the alumni out there, share that application link on your social media, however you want to. If you have a daughter, a granddaughter, or a friend, or somebody who has like 3,000 followers, please ask them to share that, because if they can complete that application, again, that's another step closer for us working with them to eventually get them admitted. Once they're admitted, then we can get them registered, right? That's what we want to be able to do, and that's how we have to work in the system and making sure that we're going to take care of those students. So again, I appreciate the emails, and when alumni and folks reach out and say, hey, I know this student, things like that, but I'm trying to clean up and be efficient by saying, instead of sending me that email, have that person go to that link. You can send me the email later and saying, hey, by the way, Sally from XYZville did do that, and we can make sure to look it up to make sure we follow up, but make sure to take care of that first and foremost. That's the easiest way to take care of students and get students in our system. Because one of the things I always try to say also is that we're competing with hundreds of other schools. So because you shared your experience and because you have built that relationship with that particular prospective student, we want you to get that in there, for we can pick up where you left off, and we can get that student to the destination where they want to be. But again, just like I mentioned, share that free app. If you work with us, or if you work at a different corporation where it's okay to add certain, attachments to your signature in your email reply and response, feel free to add that free app or that inquiry form link to your email signature. So if somebody reaches out to you and say, hey, I knew you went to SIU, or I know you are part of the Alumni Association, or what have you, you can say yes. And by the way, to get started, just go right there. My signature has the hyperlink where you can get started. Again, those are some quick wins for us.
And let's stop here and let's kind of show people. Let me switch up here real quick on. This is I believe, the request info. This is that first
Yes.
one you were talking about.
Yes. And you see, it's very simple. It may take all about 30 seconds to complete. I mean, 30 seconds to maybe a minute. Really easy, really simple. You can have that on your phone. I would suggest saving that link to your favorites. So again, if you run into somebody at church or a gathering, I know we're limited with gatherings because of COVID, but even if you guys get together for Thanksgiving or for the holidays, this is an easy way to say, hey, just put it. Here's my phone. Just put the information in there, and they'll be instantly connected to us here at SIU. So exactly, that's the link. You see how simple it is, and if the student does it on their own phone, we all know sometimes our phones are programmed to automatically to input that information to some of these links and to some of these boxes. So again, that's how easy it is to get connected to SIU.
Right. And once we are done here, what I'll do for everyone who may be watching or catching up on this later is throw these links down in the comment sections of the post, so they will all be there for everyone to copy and paste if they had to. Wanted to switch. This is the application, I believe right now, or basically the page to apply.
Yep. And one thing I'd like to. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
One thing I like to make sure to mention also, some of you all may know, we went from no ACT or SAT required for general admission. Okay. Also, we took it a step further that we have scholarship programs that do not, merit-based scholarship programs do not require an ACT or SAT. So if a student makes general admission requirements, which at 2.75 or top 10% of their class, their graduating class, or 23 ACT or SAT, they automatically are going to get something, right? So from 2.75 GPA and up, there's merit-based scholarships for students. So again, those are things we want to make sure that we get out. The scholarship deadline for the Chancellor Scholars and the University Excellence deadline is December 1st. For the merit-based scholarship, it's March 1st. So this is why it's so important that we get this information out, and especially over the holidays where people are kind of, relaxing and looking at their phone. This would be extremely important that if you can share that for us on those platforms during that time, that would be a tremendous help for us to make sure we get that information out.
Okay. All right. Now, let's go on. Let me bring up that other slide again, and let's go on with some of the other points to bring up about how students can, or how alumni can help.
Yeah, and another thing I would like to say that maybe some alumni may not be aware of is that we're one of the few schools that still have campus visits. We still have campus visits for students who are looking to come visit the campus. As I'm sure a lot of the alumni know, no matter how great we are at selling or promoting SIU, there's nothing like being on campus. And so we want to make sure that folks know about that opportunity, that we do have a very limited campus visit program, but we do have a campus visit program that they can come visit, or if they actually wanted to bring somebody on campus themselves and kind of, walk around and see the campus, and they can talk about, hey, that's where I met my wife or my husband, or that's where me and my best friends to hang out. There's nothing like that. So we would love to make sure that we're able to get out there and spread the good news and let people know that they can come on campus and visit SIU, because we know that's one of the big promotion points that we have, is that campus here at SIU.
Okay. All right. Other things we've kind of covered. Speak positive about SIU. I mean, that's usually no problem for alumni to do. That's something I think do very well a lot of the times, and then we go with engage with visitors. Again, I don't think there's a lot of problem there. People usually are pretty good about this, and obviously, wear the colors. I think everyone has probably heard we've Chancellor's instituted Maroon Fridays for everyone, and you don't have to be just on campus to participate on that. If you are a SIU alumni or a friend of SIU and you want to show your spirit on Friday, we wear our SIU gear here. Obviously, mine's not on today. I'm saving it for tomorrow, but yeah, we that's just kind of a good day to really help identify who is a Saluki out there, because chances are you'll surprise yourself if you're just walking down the street in a faraway place in a Saluki gear. You're bound to run into another one somewhere along the way.
And if you don't mind, I'll share a few goals that we have, just for people to kind of be aware of it. Just like we mentioned last year, we had a 31% increase of freshmen, in which we landed at about 1,361 new freshmen this past year. Our goal for this year is 1,400, which is about a 3% increase that we think that's safe. Again, with COVID, we're in unprecedented times. The trend, there is no trend for this. This hasn't happened. So we have a strategy, we have an understanding, and just like you've seen on the last slide, one of our biggest slogans, our best ability is availability. So one of the things we want to make sure we're promoting, and we let you all know, is that we're doing a ton of virtual engagements and virtual open houses, which have been extremely successful for us. We have a lot of students that have showed up and have really appreciated that. These students are really, really thirsty for some engagement because this is the only way they can. Also, we keep in mind that they are kind of getting zoomed out. So we understand this is a YouTube generation. So we try to provide that type of YouTube feel to some of the different open house and things that we do. Also, with our transfer goal, we're looking to increase about 5%. That goal is about 1,200 new transfer students. And I'll be honest with you, transfer students is probably going to be one of our hardest things to accomplish because we're not actually being able to go into these community colleges like we used to. And that community college student is a student that they're not shopping as much as the freshman student, where a freshman student may have a top 5 list. A community college student has a variety of reasons why they're looking to extend their education. A, because, hey, I want a promotion at work. B, I'm looking for something online. And C, I'm just looking to get done quick. So those are a lot of times their options. And a lot of times for us, we have to make sure that we can get in front of those community college students and let them know what those options are with SIU, because we do have a lot of options, but that particular student is not connected to a quote unquote guidance counselor like a high school student, if that makes sense. When you're working with high school students, you have some gatekeepers that you can kind of funnel some information to. With a community college, because it is such a self-service way of doing things, and yeah, you can work with the advisors, but it's not mandated that you have to meet with those folks to get through the community college perspective. So that's another key piece that I think would be extremely helpful, that if you know of any community college connections or any community college opportunities, let us know about that, because we would love to get in front of those community college students to let them know what our options are. We have been meeting with community college presidents, myself, Chancellor Lane, the provost, and some other folks, stakeholders. We've been meeting with them to talk about some new initiatives that we have, also the Saluki Commitment and also the Saluki Transfer Commitment, which I think is a great option for us. Again, we all know one of the biggest obstacles that we face is people, the burden of paying for school and knowing what that looks like and knowing what that means. And I think that's what we want to be able to do when we have those conversations and to talk through those things.
And we had a couple questions that have come in while we were discussing, and I wanted to make sure we got them answered here. One asking you, can you please put the merit scholarship requirements in the comments section? So yes, we can get information about the specific requirements for that in the comments section once we're done. Another question that came in is who should they contact to organize a group visit to campus? And I know there's some new options on that front about when and where people can visit campus?
Yes, that's a great question. We actually have a campus visit program. And so I'll make sure to share that with Caleb. That with that campus visit program, yes, they will help organize exactly what you're looking for, what type of group you want to bring, what are some of those expectations. So yeah, we'll make sure, and the contact name is Charles Walker. But I will make sure to get that email and that phone number to Caleb, so we can get that out to you all, because we would love for you to bring a group down. And it's the case if we run into any restrictions or anything like that, we're always open to doing that virtual visit also. Again, we're going to do everything in our power to make sure we do it on campus. But just in case if we wanted to do a pseudo virtual and on campus production, we have done that, a hybrid look. We have done that, and we're open to doing something like that also. But I'm looking forward to meeting that group.
Yeah, I think it's important to know where I think there's a few Sunday options open now for
Yes.
campus visits too. So if people find trouble getting here during the weekday, we offer Sunday as kind of a quieter day of the week to try and arrange some visits. And I don't know that it's every Sunday, but I think there's at least a couple Sundays.
Yeah, we have some. Yeah, we have some Sunday options. And I'll be honest with you, I'll be extremely transparent. We're also trying to look at what we can do once we go on break. There's going to be some limitations because people on break, but we are looking at what those options look like. But we're going to try to do whatever we can to try to get people on campus.
Right. And you had mentioned it before, but I think people know about it. But let's talk a little bit about the Saluki Commitment that we have on there, because I think this is an important thing to get out there.
Yeah. Yeah, the Saluki Commitment is a great option. The Saluki Commitment is an opportunity for a student that meets general admission requirements. As I mentioned before, 2.75 GPA or above, top 10% of their class, or 23 ACT. With that particular program, it's a last dollar amount support, right? In the Saluki Commitment is for students or families that have, I want to say, about $63,000 or less income, right? Or $50,000 less of assets, one of those two. Also, you have to be an Illinois resident, but it's a last dollar amount to support tuition and fees. It doesn't support housing, but it does support tuition and fees, which we think is tremendous. It addresses that being able to go to college and not having finances be the thing that holds you back. But I think also what is extremely important is that general admission, that general scholarship that you want to get completed. That's why we're trying to build up so much sense of urgency to get these things done now, for we can make sure that you are available. You have the opportunity to be available for all the scholarship opportunities that are there. Because once March 1st hit, we get extremely limited, right? So with that Saluki Commitment, along with the scholarship opportunities we have, we think we can put together a pretty good package for a prospective student looking to come to SIU. And I think that's really great.
I think the beauty part about this commitment is there's no additional paperwork involved in it. This is not anything you have to fill out in addition to the admissions and the financial aid paperwork you would already be filling out anyway to apply. It's, basically it kind of kicks in where the other funding falls short. So as long as you do meet those requirements. So there's new avenues opening up for people who don't feel that may be wondering of whether or not SIU is a affordable option for them. I think it will be in that respect with the help of this. Speaking of that, I wanted to also, if you don't mind, I wanted to take on, I was going to share my screen again and come up with, what do we have next? We have I wanted to talk a little bit about the legacy tuition rates and the legacy scholarship as well. Just know that the legacy tuition rates that we do offer here, John, I'll let you kind of take it from here.
Yeah, I think this is a great opportunity. Sometimes we forget about it. That legacy discount is an alternate rate. It's discounted about 20% the discounted rate. Why the student is actually going to SIU. So as long as they have a guardian, step parent, or parent that graduated from SIU, and I think that's the thing that we want to make sure we're clear about. It has to be a parent or guardian that has graduated from SIU, that they're eligible for that tuition, that legacy alternate tuition rate, which we think is tremendous. And sometimes we forget to talk about that. And again, the only thing they would have to do is download that form, get that completed, and there you go. I mean, very simple, to the point. Again, it goes to understanding the cost of attendance and making sure that we have addressed every avenue. And one thing I would want to make sure to mention, this is why it's so important that we have prospective students talk to an admissions coordinator, because those questions are going to be asked. You know, did somebody in your family graduate from SIU? Have you heard about our merit-based scholarship program? What are your thoughts about scholarship? Did you have any questions about financial aid? You know, when we say FAFSA, a lot of people don't know exactly what that means. And so we, with our admission coordinators, we actually have an engagement strategy to make sure all those things are addressed. And we set up a game plan to make sure that to set up, you know, deadlines and expectations for the students to get those things in. We don't want to engage just strictly through email. We want to have a conversation, because sometimes students don't realize that, oh yeah, you know, my stepmom graduated from SIU. You know, they just never asked and didn't know about it. So we're going to make sure we put those things, plant those seeds in their head, so they can be aware of it, so they can ask stepmom, stepdad, mom, dad, guardian, hey, did you graduate from SIU? Yes, I did. Oh, wow. Well, we need to get this taken care of before we can get that alternate tuition rate.
And yeah, and again, we'll put the links down in that as well. I was trying to keep my screen open during that time, but I was moving my mouse around. I think people might be viewing my messy desktop for a few frames on there. But you know, we will get that information down there as well. Also about the legacy scholarships that are offered as well. That's another option. John, is there anything you want to add on those?
Yeah, well, I'll just talk about scholarships in general. One of the things I always said, being in admissions and being also a recruiter at some point in time in my career, one of the things I always said about scholarships is that there's millions of dollars that go unclaimed. Um, you hate to think of it this way, but most people are not knocking on people's doors saying, here's money. But there is opportunity there. And so the fact of the matter is that we have internal scholarships that are available for students for a variety of reasons. At the same time, do not be afraid to look into other alternate avenues, because there are scholarship dollars out there for students. We just got to make sure we do that work. I mean, there are scholarships out there because you're left-handed. There are scholarships out there because of a variety of reasons. Don't be afraid to, because this is an investment. And one of the things I always told students is, if you were starting a business, you know, how would you raise funds to have people invest in it? And that's what you have to look at scholarships like also. You know, because there's churches that give you a scholarship. You know, if you work at a McDonald's, they'll give you a scholarship, right? We just got to ask the question. And so it's not necessarily saying that it's not on us. It's on us to make sure we keep you aware of what we have internally. But there's a ton of external scholarships that are available that students can take advantage of. I mean, people work at places that would pay for, you know, daughter or son to go to school. I mean, it may just be $1,000, but $1,000 makes a tremendous difference. It may help pay for books and housing and things like that. So just always be aware of those things, that there's plenty of scholarships available, and take advantage. But I always say, the earlier you are, the more you can possibly get. The later you are, the limited you're going to have. And then that's just, unfortunately, the circumstances. But that's why I think this conversation is so important, is that we really need to urge people. This is the time to inquire, to look into SIU, to apply, to get transcripts, materials in, to get admitted, for then they can look for the internal scholarships, so then we can eventually get them registered. That's what we need to happen, because that's the next steps that have to take place. If those steps don't take place, then we may gonna lose out on that student.
Okay. What else? What can alumni kind of expect in the months ahead in terms of, you know, what different new types of programs might be rolling out, and just, where should they be on the lookout to help if they're so inclined.
Yeah, I think there's a few things. Jeff and I are working on some initiatives to equip alumni with some things that then they can utilize as they're working within their community, spreading the good news about SIU. And we're really excited about that. It's going to be a very simple form that they could take and use and send to people electronically. At the same time, we're also discussing the opportunity to enterprise some opportunities, some in-person opportunities to bring alumni together to get some updates. As we all know, Chancellor Lane is really big on us getting out in the community, and not just here in Illinois, but the whole nation, and painting the whole nation maroon. His slogan is, "It's our turn," and it is our turn. It's our turn to let people know what we can do for them, because we already done it, right? But we need to work together to get these folks to us. And so I'm really excited about some of those different programs that we're going to be taking place. But again, we have to work together. We have to work together. Things are changing every day in the higher education market. Things are changing even in certain requirements and things like that. So just work with us. We're doing some great things. We're trending in the right direction. But for us to get to the finish line, the Saluki finish line, we're going to need your help. And we're going to need your help in just doing some of the little things. Speak positive about SIU. Let them know about their inquiry form. Let them know about the app. I mean, those easy things, those things that we want to equip you with and run with it, right? And then at the same time on social media, spread the good news. Let them know that things are trending in the right direction, that there are some great things happening. I mean, we have coordinators all over the country at this point that are working all over the country. So if you run into somebody, don't hesitate to send me an email and say, "Hey, I met somebody in Nashville." I can connect them with that admission coordinator who represents Nashville. Hey, I met somebody in St. Louis. I can connect them with that regional person, because that's what we want to make sure to happen. We just want to allow you to get them excited. And again, we want to take that lead and get them home. And I think those are the things that we're excited to talk about. And we got a few more initiatives that I think we're working on. But again, we're trying to make sure that we're able to do this in the landscape that's available right now, and that's virtually. So we're going to do a lot more virtual opportunities as well.
I know we had a comment from Jim McKinsey, who says they'll make sure to pass along the free application information to the community college, and that's New Jersey, from which he transferred to SIU as an aviation major.
Wow.
I think our chancellor is a native of New Jersey himself, so he'll be happy to guide everyone from there.
Yeah,
he's been sold on the campus pretty well. This is what he'll say. This is his first. This is the first, coming from Texas. This is the first autumn he's got to see in a number of years with actual color on it. So it is a beautiful campus in the fall. So thanks, Jim. We'll make sure we have other links and opportunities in there for people to get information as well. So John, is there anything else that we should know before we take off for the day?
No, I think our secret weapon is the alumni. Against all the other schools, I think that's our secret weapon is the alumni. It's not a secret weapon. It shouldn't be a secret weapon to us, but it's a secret weapon to our competitors. And that's why I said it's going to take a whole community to get these students to and through. So we're really excited to work with you all. We're really excited to have your support and have us backing, because I think if we combine you all's experience that you're going to share, and also whatever experience you can share from the industry that you represent, along with our engagement strategy, we're going to hit a home run and we're going to win. And that's what we need right now. I always say with what we do, we're not just informational, we're inspirational. And that starts with your stories. That starts with your experience. We want to inspire people, because it's a lot of students that are like you all who may have known what they wanted to do and some who didn't, who when they stepped on campus had no idea about what SIU could do for them. But when they walk across that stage, they knew they walked away not only being a Saluki, but being somebody that's going to make a tremendous impact in their community and the world. And that's what we want to do.
Good. And and everyone, make sure you do keep sharing your good experiences with SIU, with other people. And continue to give you the tools to harness that into some action for future generations as well. So, John, thanks for joining us today. It was great to talk with you. Please, anytime we can help and have some new information available for us, let us know. We did have one more question that just came in. How does an alumni go about becoming a recruiter for SIU? Which I think part of this was, you know, some of the steps we've outlined on here is part of that. I don't know if you mean in a more traditional sense in terms of being in the high schools in your area and things like that. Are there any steps that they could take if they want to reach out to the guidance counselors, to the principals in the area, and get us connected with that? Because I know SIU's doing a lot of reconnection with some high schools across the state.
Yeah, whatever you can provide for us to be connected with those folks. Now, if you're looking to be an admission coordinator, you can apply for that particular job. But just in the sense of, hey, how can we equip you? That's what we're trying to work on right now, to give folks, instead of giving you a dated pamphlet, right, or a roll piece that you would take with you, that, to be honest, could change because of the changes that we're having. We're going to equip you with some talking points, also for that particular region, who to contact, you know, moving forward. But then also on the back end, if you have connections, if you know a superintendent, if you know a guidance counselor, if you know a principal, let us know. Let's schedule a meeting for we can get in front of that person and try to come up with a game plan for we can maximize. Because we have our coordinators working those territories, and just like you mentioned, Caleb, you know, majority of schools are not letting people in, so we can't get in. We can't get into schools, but we still can if we can get in front of them virtually. If we can get in front of some kids virtually. Let us know that, and we can work that out. And I think that's what we're trying to be able to do. But just like we mentioned earlier, some of those low-hanging fruit things is going to be the best bet. You know, it's just making sure that we can document that interaction that, you know, this particular alumni member talked to this particular student, and that's how we got them in the system. That's going to be tremendous. Also, one thing I want to make sure I mention, we have recruit Saluki calling campaigns. So also don't be afraid to look into that. That can help us. That particular calling campaign help us with admitted students. So with that, you're going to help us support keeping that student engaged, right? Until we get them registered and get them to start the classes. So that's also an opportunity. I know several of the alumni participate in that, making phone calls and also writing those postcards. Those things are tremendous also. So again, we wanted to make sure that we equip you with some things that you don't necessarily have to come to us with, that we'll give to you, and just make sure to pass that out and get that out there. And then also you can sign up for some of those additional supportive programs like the postcard program and also the calling campaigns. That would be tremendous as well.
All right. Well, John, thank you very much for taking some time with us today, and to everyone else for joining us over their lunch hour to learn a little bit about how they can help us get more students and you know, grow our Saluki family.
Awesome. It's my pleasure, and go Dogs.
All right. Thank you very much. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great day.
All right. Bye-bye.